planet X, nor those Pickering found for Neptune. It is therefore possible that a much more massive planet still remains to be found. The search is being continued at the Lowell Observatory. This is a scientific book. The mass of Pluto is lower than the mass of the Earth, much lower. These are scientific data.
Now, one of the problems here is that the term Planet X has been used in different ways by different astronomers. Some of them are talking it as being Planet X, the unknown planet, and also some of them are referring to it as the 10th planet that actually is beyond Pluto or Chiron.
There are thousands of celestial bodies beyond Pluto because they belong to the Kuiper Belt object.
Yeah.
The problem is, are we talking about a celestial body which returns into our solar system as a comet, or are we talking about a celestial body very massive, outside the solar system?
But
this is the main question.
Yes. You didn't answer my question. I have to say this because if we include this in the interview, our listeners will notice that you didn't answer. Is how can life exist as far away from the sun as Pluto?
How can we get to the moon? Because we develop the space technology. We develop the space flight. I mean, what I'm talking about? If other extraterrestrial races reached a good level of technology, and they don't destroy each other like we are doing on our planet, because we are not able. It seems that we are not able to manage the sources of our planet. If they are able to survive to the critic point of auto-destruction, they can survive in any condition, because they can, they can build underground facilities, they can build motherships. Under natural conditions, the answer is not for the intelligent life like us, but under artificial conditions. Under the surface of the planet, yes, because we developed, a very sophisticated civilization. We are able to reach the satellites. We send space probes in the deep space. We are able, to fly in the atmosphere and out the atmosphere. This is my, possible answer to your question. If this race comes from another star system, they survived maybe under the surface, and they have many outposts, maybe even in our solar system, maybe in Mars, maybe on the Jupiter's satellites, and maybe they have outposts even here on Earth, even now. Okay. This is the political problem, the political issue.
Right. In the Jesuit footage, there's a small object that is clearly shown. It looks like a small moon or a spacecraft.
The problem is that during, the frames are, it's a footage, so you are frame by frame. We are talking about thousands and thousands of frames. But the behavior of that object is not a behavior of a possible satellite, because all of a sudden the mysterious object appears, and after a few seconds the object disappears. So if the footage is a real observation in a deep space of a planetoid, it means that we are facing a possible spacecraft which is able to materialize and dismaterialize. The problem is it an authentic footage or a fake? What Barbato told us is that he checked the credential of his whistleblower, his deep throat. He was really a Jesuit on duty in the Vatican.
Yes.
This is the most.
Did the Jesuits say what that object was, or was Barbato just left to get information?
Nothing that I know about it.
Another question I'd like to ask you is, Are you familiar with the testimony of Dr. Bill Deagle?
Bill Deagle?
Bill Deagle.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay. Let me summarize the reason for the question very clearly. He says, and he's worked on the inside for the American government for many years, and now he's a whistleblower. He says that the Jesuits are at the top of the pyramid of all the intelligence agencies in the world. He talks about Project Omega, that's what he says. And he says as well that the Jesuits are running and controlling the South Pole telescope, which is in existence specifically to observe the incoming object. Do you have any comment on record about any of that at all?
There is one aspect of all this affair on which Barbato didn't say anything, and I am surprised that all the ufologists, all the presumed researchers didn't want to investigate. Because I can understand, for example, I wrote many articles, but I didn't write anything about what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the 3 letters that you see in the introduction to the Jesuit footage. SVS. What the Jesuit told Barbato in the interview that the Jesuit granted to Barbato, because after the interview that Barbato granted to me in September 2006, if I remember well, Barbato on his website spread the interview that the Jesuit granted to him. And he said that the kernel of all the secret societies now on our planet is SVS. Nobody wrote a single lie on this subject. Barbato didn't say anything more because of maybe I can understand him. If it is a sensitive...
What could it be, though? Just if you know something about all of this, SVS?
I don't know anything about this, but I can tell you something. Think about Dr. Stephen Greer's researches. He said many times, we are destroying our planet because our technology is based on fuels, We burn our fuels. Maybe there are extraterrestrial intelligence that found out other source of energy, so we can stop the energy crisis. Why, until now, all the alternative source of energy cannot find enough space in our society because there is so much interest in take advantage of the oil. Question: is it possible that there is something that doesn't want that free energies, can become familiar? Yes, of course. And do you think that these people are acting by secrecy or are acting in another way, in front of the public? Of course, no.
Okay, didn't Stephen Greer also say in his book, his recent book,
yes,
something about the Jesuits, that he was approached by a person who said...
He had a meeting in the past, he wrote this in one of his chapters, Hidden Through Forbidden Knowledge, if I remember the title of the book, and he said that in the first years of the 19th, last century, he had a meeting, and one of the insiders of the Black World said to him, do you want to know something more? I have to talk to some Jesuits. And this came out after Barbato's testimony. So this is an indirect confirmation of what Barbato told us. And I am very surprised that Dr. Stephen Greer didn't say anything about Barbato's testimony. Another thing that I want to point out, it appears that this, SVS possible structure could be the famous shadow government. How many people talk about, there is a shadow government. Where is it? Who are these people? Maybe for the first time we have an evidence, a strong evidence that it exists. And let me tell you something else. This footage was according to what I understood,